Part 3. The 4 Money Mindsets. Chapter 5. The 4 Money Mindsets. As we have heard in Chapter 3, a money mindset is your fixed attitude specifically relating to money, and your money mindset is the cause of your current financial state. My research led me to discover 4 distinct money mindsets: rich, comfortable, break-even, and in debt. In each individual, one of these will be dominant and thus dictate their financial situation. Money Mindset 1. Rich. Those who run a rich money mindset habitually focus on adding value and leveraging resources. They see resources all around them, such as time, money, skills, or technology, and are driven to leverage them. So what does leveraging resources mean? The definition from the Business Dictionary is the ability to influence a system or an environment that multiplies the outcomes of one's efforts without corresponding increase in the consumption of resources. In simple terms, leveraging is devising a way to use a resource so that the input is much less than the output. That is, doing a lot with a little, or creating a big output with a significantly smaller input. People with a rich money mindset understand that this is the only way of making yourself rich. When I asked rich people what someone who is savvy with money would do with fresh funds, they invariably said, leverage it. Very few people understand the concept of leverage and, as a result, continue to work harder than ever to make ends meet, wondering, how come the rich get all the luck and we never seem to get ahead? The rich use leverage. Creating money is a skill that people with a rich money mindset have mastered. An individual with a rich money mindset uses the resources they have, such as time, money, other people, technology, and all sorts of other things, as tools to create money. Rich people don't trade time for money. Rather, they use their time to add value and leverage resources. A rich person always uses money with a purpose. He sees money as a tool that can be used to meet his needs, using it firstly to generate more money, and secondly to improve his quality of life in that order. Only when the leverage resources are throwing off enough money does he then buy the trappings of wealth, such as cars, holidays, and property. The rich are always thinking about how money can be made to work. So in response to my 7 key questions, what is money? How do you get your money? What do you do with it once you get it? If you need more money, how do you get it? What would someone who is good with money do with it once they get it? How do the rich get rich? And how do poor people become poor? A very clear sequence of actions specific to the rich money mindset emerges, and these actions are leverage, give, spend. In other words, someone with a rich money mindset leverages money first, gives next, and then spends what is generated by leveraging. When they save money, it is to leverage this money in the future. Examples of the rich money mindset. My great-grandfather. My great-grandfather, William Roach, founded Rocha Stores, a chain of department stores, investing his time, money, and all the funds he could save and borrow into building this business. The story goes he slept under the escalator on a straw mattress that was so uncomfortable he could be sure of rising every morning at 5 a.m. He did not marry until he was 40 because he knew he would not be able to give his family the time they deserved until he had successfully built his business. He did enjoy the luxuries and trappings of wealth, but only once the business could sustain continuous investment and provide surplus money. Leverage. First, he leveraged everything he could: money, time, and other people's skills, and this took a long time. Then spend. After he had built and grown the business, only then did he spend money on the trappings of wealth. My uncle. One of my relatives was also an individual with a rich money mindset. He created wealth by building a very successful storage business, eventually sold the business and retired. After achieving that, he spent time on his boat and hobbies, in other words, spending his money and his time. Later on, he came into an unexpected and significant amount of money. However, instead of spending it on luxuries, he immediately used the funds to start and build another business. He borrowed more money and hired staff to create more wealth. This was probably his 6th or 7th business. He was driven by his mindset. The structure of the rich money mindset. I'm going to read 12 working examples of the rich money mindset. Listen to each one carefully and see what resonates with you and what doesn't. Note the ones that inspire you. Example 1. I am 100% responsible for my financial success. It is important for me to understand how to succeed financially, and I must learn how to leverage every opportunity around me. I accept feeling challenged and being out of my comfort zone. I feel satisfaction at every financial success. I feel responsible for how much money I have in my life. And I feel uneasy if something is wasting my time or money. I think about what I need to do to succeed financially. I focus on anything to do with my financial success. I find opportunities to get out of my comfort zone, and I know that this is critical to getting rich. I decide to only do things that help me or move me towards financial success, and I don't complain. My actions are that I only spend time and money where financial success will be generated, and the results in my life are financial success. Example 2. I believe you must create value to get rich. It is important to know how to create value. I feel happiness when I am adding value and frustration when I am not. I think about what problems people have and what do they want and where can I add value. I decide to only focus on activities that add value. I take action to try new things to see if people want or value it and whether they value it enough to give me money in exchange. And the results in my life are products and services that people are willing to pay for. Example 3. You must leverage to get rich. It is important to know how to leverage resources. I feel happiness and exhilaration when leveraging is effective, and I feel frustration when leveraging is not working. I continually consider possible business models for every resource I can control. I decide to ensure all resources are maximising their return, and any that are not must be changed and made to generate wealth. I take calculated risks with resources to generate maximum wealth, and the results in my life are money-producing assets, and that I have a control of resources that produce money and multiple income streams. Example 4. Time is worth more than money. Working smarter, not harder, is the only way to get rich. It is vital that I only focus my time on things that will produce the results I want in my life, and I focus on building wealth. I can feel when I'm focusing on the wrong thing. I focus and prioritise the thoughts that will deliver my goal. I understand exactly what activities advance me towards my goal and those that take me further away. I choose only to do those things that advance me towards my goals. I only do the right activities that lead me to achieving the goal. And I spend time with others who are building wealth. The results in my life are that I achieve wealth goals. Example number 5. You must take action to create wealth. Making things happen is critical. The importance of action in getting rich cannot be underestimated. I feel happy when I'm achieving and dissatisfied and frustrated when my actions do not produce the positive results. I feel out of my comfort zone and I know that these actions lead to me getting to the next level. I think about what action I can take to move this forward, and I understand the difference between action and activity. I decide on the best actions to take, and I prioritise only wealth-growing actions. I take calculated risks, take the right actions. I never sell time in exchange for money, and I avoid activities that will not lead to wealth creation. The results, of course, are wealth. Time isn't sold in exchange for money. The cumulative action produces wealth-producing assets, and I have more skills than I had previously. Example number 6. You must continually change and learn to become rich. You have to learn how to become rich. It is important to get better and take things to the next level if you want to become rich. I feel enjoyment in change and having a challenge. I enjoy the struggle of getting to the next level. I think about learning and the changes that are necessary for getting rich. I seek out learning opportunities, and I relentlessly seek out new people and ideas. I instigate change, take calculated risks, and learn new things to apply to businesses. And the results are actual change, the ability to do things now that I was not able to do before, and I know lots of different people. Example number 7. Wealth creation begins with me, in my head, and I have to figure it out. It is important to figure out how to create wealth-generating systems, and it's important to know how to get rich. I feel an insatiable curiosity about how other successful people do things, and I'm driven to develop wealth creation systems. I want control. I consider systems and strategies for wealth creation. I solve problems that others can't, and I turn that solution into a system. I seek out people and resources to trial and create systems, and I build teams and control resources. This results in assets, businesses, and investments. Example number 8. I deserve to be rich. I actually do deserve to be rich. I am important, and what I want out of life is important, and I'm clear about what I want. I know what I want, and I will ask for it, and I want wealth, and I set wealth-building goals. I make decisions about what I want and what I consider to be important. I only do things that meet my needs and lead to achieving what I want. And the results in my life are that I have the desired level of wealth and I have systems that generate wealth and cash flow. Example number 9. I believe in myself. My self-belief is critical, and it is the most important thing in getting what I want. I overcome any self-doubt and I'm driven by self-belief. I am successful and will succeed at anything given sufficient focus to, and I will make it happen. I never give up. A setback is something to be overcome. I never listen to self-doubting little voices in my head, and I don't let detractors dent my self-belief. I keep going, I do a bit every day, and I keep believing in myself and what I'm doing. And this means I achieve the desired results. Example number 10. I set my own course in life. Having control, power and freedom to choose my life is vital. I love having freedom and excitement, and I feel in charge of my own life. I'm not taking orders from someone else. I do not define myself by the limitations other people define themselves by, and I'm not one of the crowd. I'm not dissuaded by negative feedback, and I'm not put off by other people dragging me back. I make my own business decisions, and the results are that I have the life I want. I live life differently to the average person, and I don't work for money. Example number 11. Money is a tool. The better I learn to use and get the tool, the richer my life will be. I feel good and confident in my ability to stretch myself and create the money I need. I contemplate what I need to do to have all the money that I need. I decide upon actions that will create money and use it to make my life better. I use money skillfully, and the results are that I live a rich life. Example number 12. You must continually change and learn to become rich. It is important to get better and take things to the next level if you want to be rich. I feel enjoyment of change and challenge, and I enjoy the struggle of getting to the next level. I think that learning and change are necessary for getting rich. I seek out learning opportunities, and I relentlessly seek out new people and ideas. I instigate change, I take calculated risks, and I learn new things to apply to business. The results are change. I'm able to do things that I was not able to do before, and I know lots of different people. It is worth reviewing this section again, because this is based on a good cross-section of wealthy client case studies. All of these are the words of very wealthy people who consistently leverage money. In some cases, they have rebuilt their wealth from scratch. Now you can see exactly what they think about money. Money mindset number 2. The comfortable money mindset. Those who habitually run a comfortable money mindset are driven to save. When they get any money, they initially save a proportion and live on the rest. These people often have large savings and could survive for a considerable length of time if their source of income dried up. If they invest, it is to save, for example, through shares or a modest portfolio of property to prop up their pension. Savings include retirement funds, institutional investment schemes, or any types of savings or investment schemes run by someone else and sold by a broker, as well as cash. People with a comfortable money mindset save for the future or a rainy day rather than to buy something specific. The most noticeable thing about those with this mindset is that they can tolerate quite a bit of discomfort. They are masters at delayed gratification. The need to save is a huge driver. They see financial threats everywhere and save to create a buffer between them and the harsh financial world outside. Responses to the key questions consistently reveal the sequence of actions specific to the comfortable money mindset. Save, give, spend. Essentially, someone with a comfortable money mindset will save, then give, and only spend what is necessary. It is noticeable when someone with this mindset invests, they do so not to lose, rather than invest more and work to guarantee its success. They often say things like, "Don't invest anything you can't afford to lose." They also have no system or exit strategy or plan for what to do with the profit, instead just keeping it for a rainy day. Sadly, this attitude often causes them to lose money, as they don't know what to do if things don't go according to plan. They either panic and sell with the herd, or hang on in there hoping things will come right when they won't. The only chance of success in these circumstances is to make a rich money mindset decision, and because they don't know how to, they just focus on minimising loss. The sequence of financial actions is also clear from the individual's financial records. You can see the flow of money very clearly from their bank statements. Save, give, spend. Examples of the comfortable money mindset. I have spoken with many individuals with a comfortable money mindset, and they are all motivated by a fear of financial insecurity. Their strategy is to save their income, clear down debt, and live on little. My father. I remember my father describing his job as a living hell, and he likened waiting for retirement to a prison sentence. When he came into a significant sum of money, he kept working and invested in shares. He did not buy these shares with a specific aim to get him out of work, using money as a tool to give him the life he wanted, but bought them as a method of saving up as much money as he could. By the age of 63, he had 72,000 shares worth around €17 each, well over €1 million at their peak, and a pension from his job. However, he never spent any of this and lived on the money he earned from consultancy work he began immediately after retiring. He lived until he was 69, but in constant pain and discomfort, and I often wondered how much better his life would have been if he'd cashed in some of his shares. Mark. At the age of 25 in the 1960s, Mark inherited a fortune. At the time, it was sufficient to buy 20 nice houses in London or New York. Instead, he bought one house to live in and eked out the rest of the money over 50 years. Too frightened to spend it, he lived in abject poverty, never heating his house or paying for repairs. Had he bought houses or built businesses that generated an income with the cash instead of eking out the capital, how different would his life have been? Finbar. Finbar had an enormous amount of savings and shares. He had a great house worth a fortune in a fantastic location and also a very high-paying job. He saved half his income every month and the family spent the rest on living costs. However, his house was so shabby and down at heel it was shocking. Nothing was ever replaced or mended because he was too frightened to spend any money. Ancient sofas were held together with duct tape. He felt he could not afford to pay for his children's education, so they had to make do with a local sink school. His wife gave up and stopped cleaning and tidying the house, saying, "Give me a house to be proud of and I'll become house proud." The theme. The theme here seems to be very good at saving, comparing rates, setting up automatic accounts, but not good at leveraging. Those with a comfortable money mindset will invest in what they see as safe vehicles. They don't like risk. However, the risk of holding cash or shares without a good exit strategy can very often lead to a loss of money. For example, savings held in times of low interest or high inflation lose value, or shares bought without a time frame to sell may lose their value or not be invested to maximise wealth building. Money invested in a pension can be worth very little by the time it's needed. This is the way my dad behaved with his shares. He never cashed them in. He never spent any of the financial gain from them. He had no exit strategy, nor any plan to further invest the money or use it in any way, except to save it for a rainy day. He just kept buying and holding them, enjoying the feeling of security it gave him. He watched the value go up and yet went to a job he loathed every day. When he finally did retire through ill health, he was far too physically wrecked to enjoy his boat or garden, even though he had a fortune locked up in the shares. His entire retirement was spent hobbling about, bent double, on medication, in agony. Even so, He worked part-time as a consultant throughout his retirement. Unable to walk, he would sit in his clients' premises as they would bring him all he needed to make decisions and give advice. He lived off this consultancy income and saved his pension. Seeing someone who hated every second of his working life leave himself with such a poor quality of life after finishing work was pitiful. Furthermore, he saved his pension, refusing to replace the crumbling windows or kitchen in his house. He saved every penny he could and spent only a small amount on living costs. This was his pattern, saving huge amounts for security, giving a designated portion, and living on whatever was left. The structure of the comfortable money mindset. I'm going to read 10 working examples of the comfortable money mindset. Again, listen to each one carefully to see what resonates with you and what doesn't. Note the comments in the beliefs, values, feelings, thoughts, decisions, actions, and results sections are actual clients' responses. Example 1. My financial security is my responsibility. The Lord helps those who help themselves. I must ensure my financial security. I feel threats and insecurity. I feel secure with big savings, and I feel secure with no debt. People who save are responsible, and I must save for a rainy day. My decisions are focused around financial security, and I'm alert to financial threats. I minimise risk, and I save. And the results in my life are big savings and low-risk investments. Example number 2. Big savings give security. It is vitally important to save, and one should save a proportion of all money that comes in. It's easy to save. I feel safe with savings. I feel protected from financial uncertainties with large savings. I feel insecure if savings drop below a certain level. I feel control and power by being able to defer gratification. I think it's easy to save, and I frequently think about savings. I decide saving is a priority, and only to spend what is left even if I have to do without, and I would never blow my savings. I save first, I resist spending, and I do not spend if it can be avoided. And the results in my life are that my outgoings are always smaller than my income. Example number 3. Debt is a threat, sometimes necessary, but always a threat to security. I never take on too much debt, and it is wrong to borrow for anything except a house. I fear debt, and I keep any debts that I do have from becoming a risk. I decide to prevent excessive debt. I have no borrowings, only mortgages, and the results in my life are very low or no debt, and my wealth grows very slowly. Example number 4. Money is safety. When I need some more, I can do without something so I can save more. I feel fear, and I feel better by spending very little. I must find ways to save money and stop spending when the inflow of money is low. I decide to always save more when I see threats. I only spend on absolute necessities, and the results are that the flow of money in my life becomes less. Example number 5. You can lose very badly by taking financial risk. Only risk what you can afford to lose. I feel secure with safe investments, and I feel threatened by risk. I evaluate investments and make sure they are safe. I only choose low-risk investments, so the actions I take are low-risk choices. The results in my life are that I very rarely lose any money, although my wealth grows very slowly. Example number 6. There are many financial threats and dangers that I have to protect myself against. It is important to understand how current and future events will cause financial problems in the future. I feel fear at future financial insecurity, and I panic at direct financial threats. I plan to combat how current events will cause or could cause financial problems in the future. I decide how to keep threats away and I minimise dangers. I work for money, and the results are that my surroundings do not often reflect the money I have. Example number 7. People who take big financial risks and lose deserve what they get. They could lose everything. Being the tortoise, not the hare when it comes to building wealth is good. I worry that events might cause future financial loss or catastrophe. I think of ways to build my wealth without risk of losing it. I decide to keep threats away and I minimise dangers. I make very cautious financial decisions. And the results in my life are that I sell time for money and I make more money by working harder or longer hours. Example number 8. People who get into debt and find that they cannot pay it back are irresponsible. People who don't save and defer gratification are not only lazy but careless. I resent those who pass financial responsibility on to others. Even though I take financial responsibility, there are many who pass it on to others. I decide to always save and do without in order to save. And the actions are that I save money. The results in my life are that my money is tied up in pensions, investment vehicles and high interest accounts. That's not available for my use. Example number 9. I will never spend my financial cushion. Those with no savings are mad. I could never be without savings, ever. I feel fear at being without money in the future, and I need certainty. I understand financial risk, and I will do everything to hang on to my savings. I decide to never part with much money, and I scrimp and save. And the results in my life are big savings, but no real plan on what to use the money or the savings for. Example number 10. Sometimes you have to do things you don't like to earn money. I could never just give up my job, no matter how much I hate it, unless I had a very big financial cushion. People just have to suck it up and get on with it, even if they don't like it. People who pack in their jobs are mad. I feel like I have no choice. How do I make it easier and how do I get through the day? Just decide I have no choice. The actions I take are I stick at my job and I make myself go into work. The results in my life are I'm working for money and I stick at and sometimes spend years at jobs that I hate. Once again, review this section carefully because this is based on a good cross-section of comfortable client case studies, people who save money, create buffers and avoid anything that threatens their financial stability. If comfortable sounds like you, then you may even construct a simple grid of the comments from the various examples and compile a more personalised, comfortable chart. If this sounds like you, I also suggest you go back and re-listen to the Rich Money Mindset. Money Mindset 3. Break even. Those who habitually run a break-even money mindset are driven to cover their expenses and spend the rest. They pay all the fixed expenses first, then spend what is left on variable expenses, but do not spend more than they have. If they run out of money, they stop spending, believing that once it's gone, it's gone. They would never take on debt. The pattern seen in their bank statements is one of running out of money by the end of the payment period, and savings are only for specific items or events. In response to my key questions, a clear pattern of actions specific to the break-even money mindset emerges. Spend, give, save. They tend to cover their expenses, rent and bills first, and then spend the rest. They will then give to family and friends through presents and treats, and finally, whatever is left over, they save for something specific. This mindset does exactly what it says on the tin. People with this mindset prioritise their spending, allocate money, and stop spending when the money is gone. They save what is left over for a specific item or purpose. Some with this mindset are very good at current account budgeting and sometimes budget using the envelope system. Examples of the break-even money mindset. My grandmother. My maternal grandmother believed that to be successful with money, people had to feed themselves, pay their bills, and keep the roof over their heads and not get into debt. She did not have a bank account, as she believed such things were instruments of the rich and the devil, and managed her money in 3 jars, one for bills, one for food, and the third for upcoming expenses. Every week was the same. Number 1, spend. Number 2, give. Number 3, save what was left, but this never lasted long. Auntie Eva. Auntie Eva had the same mindset. She abhorred debt and had a saying, "Neither a borrower nor a lender be." She lived on a modest widow's pension, adored travel and always had enough money for trips. She spent on essentials, took friends out to lunch, bought gifts and saved the rest to fund holidays. She never had any long-term savings, and when she died, there was just enough to cover her funeral. Vera. My neighbour Vera lived on a very modest income and loved to be financially organised. She had numerous spreadsheets to help her prioritise her spending. "I've always been good with money and have never been in debt in my life," she said. "I studied accountancy after I left school and I love to balance the books. I have spreadsheets to ensure everything reconciles." She balanced her books every month, always paying all her bills and expenses first. Then she would give to her grandchildren. Whenever she had a little left over, she would save it. Her son would get into debt and guilt-trip Vera into bailing him out every time. I lived near her for over a decade and I saw this pattern acted out regularly, with total predictability. The structure of the break-even money mindset. I'm going to cover working examples of the break-even money mindset. Listen to each example carefully to see if this money mindset resonates with you or not. Note again that the comments, beliefs, values, feelings, thoughts, decisions, actions, and results are actual client responses. Example 1. People who pay all their bills on time are good with money. Because I pay all my bills on time, I am good with money. I feel free to spend what's left. I prefer my bills to be paid first so I don't have to think or worry about them. I decide to pay all my bills and costs first, and then I spend what's left. I cover my expenses and I spend the rest freely. And the result in my life is that my bills are always up to date. Example 2. Debt is bad. I take pride in never being in debt. I feel uneasy with debt, and I think debt is very bad. I make do with what I have. I cover all my expenses first, so I never owe anyone anything. And the results in my life are that I'm never in debt. Example number 3. People who get into debt are not good with money. Neither a borrower nor a lender be. I would feel sick at the thought of owing money. I make sure I pay my expenses first. I don't lend money to people who won't repay. I hang about with similar people, and the results in my life are that my current account is always balanced. Example number 4. When I don't have enough money, I wait for more to come in. It's good to be able to wait until I can afford something, not borrow for it. I feel good about being able to wait until I have the money. Even if I really need something, I know how to get by until my money comes in without borrowing. I decide to wait. I make do until my money comes in, and the results in my life are that I have no debt. Example number 5. I successfully save for specific items and events. I am good at putting money away for something specific. I feel good when my savings plan is on target for something I need or want. I plan ahead what I need money for and make sure I save for it. I choose what to save for and what to spend on. I buy what I have saved for. And the results in my life are I buy what I need without getting into debt. Example number 6. If I have a bit of surplus money left over, I try to save it, but something always happens that requires me to spend any surplus. If I have some savings and there is an emergency, then I need to use them. I must sort any emergency or situation out by using my savings. If something has happened, then I need to use my savings, and I will decide to use them and spend them. The actions are that I spend my savings, and the results in my life are that I never have any surplus money or savings for long. Example number 7. People like us or me never get rich. I'm not important enough to be rich. I feel a bit hopeless, and I've never had a lot of money and never will. I feel a bit desperate. I have enough to live on and that's enough. I decide to stay poor. I'm fine as I am. I give up on myself and I never take the actions I need to. And the results in my life are that I stay breaking even financially. Example number 8. It is very hard to hang on to savings. It is very hard for an ordinary person to get rich. I want to feel in control and I want to feel organised. I think, how should I prioritise? I decide to prioritise my expenditure. I budget, and the results in my life are that I'm never in debt. Example number 9. I successfully save for specific items and events. I am good at putting away money for something specific. I feel good when my savings plan is on target for something that I need or want. I plan ahead what I need money for, and I make sure that I save for it. I choose what to save for and what to spend on. I buy what I have saved for, and the results in my life are that I buy what I need without getting into any debt. Example 10. Rich people are lucky. Rich people have money so they can always spend what they want. I'm not going to be rich. I feel frustration and I envy rich people. Rich people don't have to worry about money. They can do whatever they feel like, and having money is so easy for them. I live within my means. I find it impossible to keep any surplus money for long, and the results in my life are I break even. Example number 11. Poor people don't understand money and spend beyond their means and get into debt. I must make sure I do not become poor. I would feel very uncomfortable if I couldn't pay a bill. I understand money. I plan and budget. I live within my means, and I never spend what I don't have. And the result in my life is that I never get into debt. Once again, re-listen to this section carefully. Money Mindset 4. In debt. Those who habitually run an in-debt money mindset are driven to borrow and spend. They have already spent some or all of their money by the time they get it. This pattern shows up in their bank statements as money coming in and then immediately going out to meet debt commitments, such as car loans, bank loans, credit and store card loans, or loans to family and friends. Someone running an in-debt money mindset habitually thinks, feels, and says to himself and everyone around him that he hasn't got enough money. He often finds himself driven by the feelings of not enough or lack, and in response to this habitual feeling, he often finds himself spending to feel better. In response to my key questions, a clear pattern of actions specific to the in-debt money mindset emerges. Borrow, give, spend. This mindset is exactly what it describes. Those with an in-debt mindset find that as soon as they get money in, a portion of it is immediately swallowed by debt, further fueling the feeling of never enough money, as is so characteristic of this mindset. Often people go on like this for years because they manage the debt and their income is sufficient to cover it. Sometimes, though, life gets in the way, they lose their income and then lose control of the debt. Examples of the in-debt money mindset. Margaret. Margaret brought up a child on her own without any support from the father. She permanently felt resentful and lacking money. She borrowed money from anywhere that she could, bank, credit cards, and family, and took every penny of her mother's pension. When her mother signed over her house to Margaret, it was remortgaged within 2 months. When she did get some money, she spent it on holidays and clothes to make herself feel better. She was never out of debt throughout her adult life. Myra explained, "Feeling deprived in so many areas as a child meant that I did the opposite with my kids. They always have whatever they want, regardless of whether I can afford it, and regardless of whether it is good for them, or if the money could have been spent on something better. Because I don't want them to feel deprived as I did. Whenever I haven't been able to buy what they want, I feel like a terrible mother. I have dreadful guilt. I still feel they don't get enough. No matter how stretched my finances are, I will find a way of getting the money to give my kids whatever they want. As soon as I have any money, some of it is grabbed away for debt repayments. I spend what I have on my children and then borrow whatever I can. I don't want to be in debt, but I just don't have enough money." The structure of the in-debt money mindset. I'm going to read through working examples of the in-debt money mindset. Listen to each example very carefully to see if this money mindset feels like you. Understand clients stuck in this mindset often feel defensive about being labelled in debt and can defend and justify the mindset vigorously with good reasons and excuses. Stay open-minded and just listen. Example 1. When I need something and I don't have the money, I have to borrow. It's important for me to be able to borrow if I really want or need something. I feel resigned to an acceptance of this situation. If I have to have something in particular, the only way I can get this is to borrow. I'm determined to find a way of borrowing the money. I borrow it, and the result in my life is I'm in debt. Example number 2. If I had more money, I wouldn't need to borrow. If I had more money, I would always have enough. I feel resentment, guilt and shame. And I think that if I had more money, then everything would be okay. I must and have to get more. I borrow more money and then I spend. And then the results in my life are that I panic because of the fear of debt. Example number 3. People find themselves without enough money because of bad luck or injustice. Because life is unfair. And I feel resentment acceptance of this situation, and apathy. I think life ought not to be so unfair. There is nothing I can do about my lack of money, and it's all down to chance. You are who you are and what you're born with. I'll just give up. I'll borrow and spend, and the result in my life is that I am in debt. Example number 4. It is unfair so many have more than me. It is important to me that my kids don't have less than others. I feel shame, self-pity, envy, anger and frustration and sadness. Why should me and my kids have less than everyone else? I decide to buy what we need, and I just spend. And then the results in my life are that I feel guilt for spending and guilt for not having enough, and I feel like I can never get sorted. Example number 5. Rich people are lucky. They can spend whatever they want, whenever they want. It's easy for them. They always have plenty of money, and they don't know what it's like. I feel anger and frustration and self-pity and resentment. They never have to think about money. They should understand what it's like for the rest of us. I choose to believe that rich people are different from the rest of us. I don't like rich people. I act in ways that are anti-rich, and I say and do things that are anti-rich, and the results in my life are that I would persecute rich people. Example number 6. Something or someone is causing me not to have enough money. People like me have to borrow to get things we desperately need. I feel everything is getting on top of me, and I'm so anxious, and I feel deep shame. It's easy for others who have more. This is just too much. I'm trying desperately not to think about it. I'm now in indecision and denial. I just put my bills in a drawer or ignore them. And the results in my life are that I get deeper into debt and deeper into despair. Example number 7. If I had more money, people would look up to me. I should be able to have what I need and want. I'm ashamed because I'm in debt, and I'm ashamed to say I can't afford something. I think it'll be okay. I'll manage to pay it all back. I decide I have to buy it, and then I buy it. And then the results in my life are that I'm in just more debt. Example number 8. If I had more symbols of wealth, I'd be happier. It is important for me to have all the outward signs of financial success. I get such a buzz from spending. I need these things to be accepted. I will get things that symbolise wealth, even if I can't afford them. I spend when I'm already in debt, and I borrow to pay for clothes and cars and holidays and entertainment and gifts. The results are that every month these things need to be paid for. Example number 9. I have to have it now. I will get it regardless, and I feel good when I spend. I think I deserve a treat and a break. I decide to spend. I lie about my purchases to myself and to others. The result in my life is I have a very poor credit rating, and I'm considered a credit risk. Example number 10. I must have certain things. It is vitally important that I get this. I feel power from spending. I feel a competitiveness and keeping up with the Joneses. I think about how I can borrow money. I will try anyone and anything possible I can to get the money I want as quickly as possible. I borrow money from friends and family, but the results in my life are fallings out with people. I've lost friendships because of unpaid loans. Review this section several times, because this is based on feedback from a large cross-section of in-debt client case studies. If in-debt sounds most like you, make a note of the exact characteristics that sound exactly like you, and then listen on. You can change this mindset, and contrary to whatever you think or feel, it is not set in stone and you are not permanently locked in. Anyone can snap out of this mindset at any time. Action steps. Recognizing money mindset behaviours. Learn to recognise the behaviour of all 4 money mindsets. I suggest that you re-listen to the 4 money mindsets several times and get a real sense of what sounds like you. Or maybe you already